So let's talk pike fishing again. Now, spoons are the go-to. They'll catch you pike. If you've never caught a pike, throw a spoon. It's the easiest to fish. It's easy to have more than one person in a boat fishing them. And it's easy to cover a lot of water to find fish. But this outproduces spoons big time on quality. I don't find that I cover as much water, so I don't always use them as a search bait, but I will use them once I've narrowed down areas and I've got high percentage areas and targeting, you know, big fish in those spots. And that's the jerkbait. So, first one, and I like throwing big ones for pike, your plastic jerkbaits. These things are giant. Can I get the name on here? They're the Heroes from Z-Man. I'll throw these with a belly-weighted hook. I'll throw them on a huge jig head. Or, here, I've got some here. No, I don't. I lied. They're somewhere else. They're in a different bin. I'll throw these on a giant jig head. Or a belly-weighted hook. Or just on a weightless big like number 9 or a 9/0 hook. So I fish these when there's weeds and I don't want to get hung up. I fish them like right in against the shore, or I skip them under docks, whatever, under trees and laydowns. They work really good. They don't have to be that size. You guys saw these in another video, but your 7-inch, you know, super flukes or similar are going to work really well. And fish them where there's cover. Fish them where there's structure. They'll catch you fish. I tend to favor, again, you don't cover a lot of water, but I tend to favor weightless. They just get a really nice sinking action. You get a nice roll and dart. And as you impart action by popping them on slack, I fish them on slack line. Pop them on slack line, work them, you know, and that works really well for pike, especially in the spring when they're shallow. They're still kind of lethargic, a dead bait fish or a dying bait fish that's just kind of popping and dropping. They're going to key in on that and want to eat it. And then obviously jerkbait fishing, if you're not in thick cover, you're over rock piles, ledges, on weed edges, whatever the case is, and it's open enough that you can, then switch to your regular. These are a pretty big size. Like, you can see it against my hand. You can see it against my hand. It's the length of my whole hand. It's a big Rapala. I don't know what size that is. What's it say? It doesn't say. It just says Rapala and it's all scuffed up. This one, surprisingly, this one's new. It doesn't have teeth marks. Obviously, like, bright colors work, but so do natural colors. But regular jerkbaits. Floating works really well. It depends on the day, but sinking and suspending tends to work better. If those fish are lethargic and they're keyed off and they're not hungry and chasing, I find a jerkbait that sinks is going to outperform a jerkbait that floats. Because it's, every time you pop it and you pause, it's going to get a little closer to that fish, and then it might rip back up, but it's still going to drift back down. Rattles are key. A lot of times I find for pike that rattles are key. They like the noise, they like the commotion. It just drives them crazy. They're an aggressive fish, but sometimes you kind of got to stimulate that and wake them up. So rattles on a big jerkbait are a great option. If you're fishing some without rattles, I tend to go bigger. These flat-sided jerkbaits, these big jakes, I think that's what guys call them. I'm maybe not messing that up. And I don't know if you can see that. This one's covered in teeth marks and stuff. This is a fairly new one, but this one's caught some fish. So these, I find, work good in clean water where fish can see them from a long way. They work really good in sunny conditions. Whereas obviously if it's cloudy or it's dirty water, the rattles are essential. But these, if it's clear water and your fish are a little spooky or a little keyed off and you've got a little bit of chop and some sun, will really seal the deal. Rip them hard. These swim, you can pull them fast. I mean, most of these are made for musky fishing. You control these at 6 miles an hour, and some of them will still swim okay. Like, they're really meant to fish fast and hard. And you can give them big aggressive pops, then stop, let them float up a bit, do it again. A lot of these have a bigger lip. They dive faster, they dive deeper, so it's a good option. I grew up fishing wood baits, and I really like it, and my technique is good, and I really like fishing these. They're a ton of fun. I recommend that you get one if you don't have one. It doesn't quite have to be like an 8 or a 10 inch. You can get like a 6 or a 7, and they sell them. They're still like 20 bucks, something like that, and you'll catch a ton of fish on them. You might catch walleye and other stuff too, but you'll definitely catch big pike. For leaders, I tend to run leaders when I'm getting into the floating or sinking hard jerk baits. I tend not to run them as much on the soft baits, but I'll normally tie in a fluoro leader. But for these, I'll use like a titanium leader with a snap, or I'll use a big musky leader, big musky fluoro leader with a snap. I don't like the snaps on the plastic ones. I find them to kind of ruin some of the action. I like to feel them, feel the bites, feel what they're coming through, like for cover, and if I'm getting hung up too much or not, or whatever. Like, I like to feel just what's going on in my bait. These, it's not so much that kind of bait. You're going to feel vibration, and then it's going to stop, and something will be pulling. You're just going to set the hook. It's a little bit less finessey. These big wood ones also troll really well. So if you're, you know, trolling, or you got extra people in the boat and you want to cover some water, or rod out each side and 2 in the back, you know, put your shallow baits on the outside, your deep baits behind the boat. You'll do really well with these. So yeah, definitely throw some of these. And then the last one is same thing, but different. So these are, what's this one called? Because I always mess up the names. This is the Super Shadow Wrap. This is a giant bait. I haven't opened this one. I'll open it for you guys. This is a big bait. It's not too long. So you get that big bait fish profile. It's natural looking. If the fish are eating, you know, those perch up shallow and stuff that time of year, you're going to have perch that are just coming off the spawn. The pike are already keyed into that. It's what they're comfortable eating. It's a great bait to fish. This is, does it say? Shadow Wrap 16. Super Shadow Wrap. Can you tell? Oh yeah. Look at how shiny and iridescent this is. Does it have a rattle? It's got a rattle, but not much of it. It's a big knock. I like these because they throw wicked far, and they are a sinking jerkbait as opposed to these balsa ones that float. So these are kind of your 2 different ones, depending on how deep you have to fish and what the fish's mood is like. These fish well over grass. If you've got grass that stops 3 feet up, 4 feet up, you know, fish these whatever speed you can and stop before you get hung up, and let it float up, and then keep fishing it. It won't get hung up in the grass. This will keep sinking the more you fish it. So it will, until your rod and your line starts pulling it back up at the end of your retrieve. So they're used in different scenarios, and they each have their advantages. I like these big flat sides. These have wicked wide rolling actions. They have a lot of flash. Fish see them from a long way away, and they get eaten. They've got a really nice eye. There you go. They've got a nice shiny eye. They've got a small lip, and these have a pretty wicked action. I've got a similar one that's a headbanger. Also works really good. I mean, these aren't all of the baits, but they're kind of, they've each got a niche, and they've each serve a different purpose. So in deep water, when fish are kind of, especially if you're seeing follows, but they just won't come up higher, throw a sinking one on, something big, fish it slow. Give it a little bit of action, let it settle and sink. Give it some more action, settle and sink. If they look like they might start chasing, start reeling it faster and faster and see if they'll chase. A lot of times people mess up on pike and they try and let them take it, when really what the pike is expecting is for it to run away. And when you just stop it, it strikes and misses and goes right past it because it's expecting it further up. That's happened to me more than I'd like to admit. So if you've got to follow, gauge the fish's aggression, especially if you can see your follow, and speed up, because speeding up will tend to get you more fish than slowing down. So there's a little bit about jerkbaits. Again, if you guys have any questions, send me a message, but I can say with absolute confidence that my top 5 PB pike came on a sinking jerkbait. Now, I don't think that it's entirely the sinking jerkbait. I think it's the right place at the right time, and I tend to always hunt them under specific conditions. And I think that that's what it is, that the stars kind of align at the right time of year where fish are predictable. And I've always got one of these tied on. So if you're in spring, you want to catch a big pike, go find some high percentage areas, creek mouths, the points and bays right at them, and find the deep water weed edges near those locations if the fish aren't up shallow. And then fish one of these. Throw it, let it sink, pop it, be patient, watch for follows, and really play those fish carefully. You're probably going to get the biggest pike you've ever caught. So good luck, and send me questions if you have any. Thanks for watching, guys.